Good morning, Facebook viewers. We are live today from Alamo Plaza. We have a very special treat today.
Hey everyone, good morning. Welcome to our daily update on August 1st. We're going to do a little show and tell for you all today and show you a little bit about what we've been finding. City Archaeologist Kay Hindes is sitting next to a case containing some of the artifacts we have pulled out so far. We've gotten a little over 300 artifacts, and we still have plenty processing, and we're still generating artifacts from here at the West Wall area and across the street at the South Wall area. So today we're showing you bits of ceramic, broken ceramic that we've recovered. We've recovered a blank for bone buttons. I hesitate to take it out, but if you step up to the case, and I know Facebook will get y'all a shot of it later, it's basically an animal bone where you can see a round indentation where a button has been punched out of it. Sorry, I know the bus was loud. So a button has been punched out of that bone, and you can see the round indentation. You'll find bone buttons that were used for clothing early on, from 19th century, they're very common, and earlier. We also have some glass, including a fragment of glass that is stamped San Antonio Apothecary. So something here that was locally used from the 19th century. We've also got both locally produced ceramics plus European ceramics. So things that were being imported, things that were locally made. And I'm trying to remember everything we've got. We've got a fragment of a toothbrush. We've got some square nails, which indicate that they're 19th century as well. And these have all come out of the units as we've been looking in this area right over here at the West Wall.
So this is just the normal materials of life at that period?
This is daily life at its best. We're getting what we would probably find in many households.
Has any of this gotten you any closer to your goal of dealing with the wall, or is this just an interesting sideline?
It's both, actually. It's an interesting sideline because we always like to recover everyday artifacts to find out how people were living and working. But it also contributes to our knowledge of the West Wall, because remember, in addition to that wall and the arcade that would have been inside it, there were structures where people were living. So this is that evidence of the structural, in addition to the structural remains we found, of people living in these rooms.
So, any closer to working on the wall bricks, determining, you mentioned you were going to go northeast, south, and west. Have you determined the linearity of these bricks?
We have explored a little further. We opened that unit up, and it looks like it may just be a pier. We're still kind of analyzing the photography and what we've got, but it looks like it may have just been a pier rather than a big fragment of linear wall. Jake Ivey, who did the excavations here at Radio Shack in the 1970s, has been out here and has been looking at it, comparing it to what he found, and said it is in line with what they found in the 70s, that they had interpreted to possibly be part of the arcade. Again, that's preliminary. We're still looking at everything, but that's a possibility.
So is that disappointing that it might not be part of the wall, because everybody was all complex with it?
Well, it still is part of the wall because it's a complex. Remember, the wall is not just one singular wall. We've got a complex going on. We've got the boundary, we've got the rooms where people are living, and we have the arcade. All of those are features of that wall. Do we have other questions?
Did you find any mission era artifacts? Did you talk about that?
We did. Some of the ceramics that we've got here today would have possibly dated to the mission period. We've got a few sherds of Goliad ware, which was native made, but was made both before Europeans got here and through that period of contact. When we find that material on historic sites like this one, we call it Goliad ware, and that's definitely evidence of native occupation in that colonial period.
Is there any one piece that has a wow factor that makes it kind of the hallmark of all of what you found?
I don't know that we've got one single piece. We're all oohing and ahhing every time we get anything out. And remember, we're still processing some artifacts, so that wow piece may be coming up. We just never know.
So what's next?
Well, we're going to finish here at the West Wall. We're actually nearly complete with our excavations at this location, but the South Wall, they've gotten into it, and they've got about 3 units open, and they're seeing what they can find. So far, we haven't really processed any of their artifacts, so we're still trying to figure out what they're getting and what they're looking at.
No indication of Adobe though over here.
Not yet. We have adobe almost everywhere over here. I feel like we've got some of the intact bricks that we know were part of the wall, and we've got a lot of things that look like maybe we've got a little collapse or melting. But again, we're still looking at that and collecting evidence to substantiate that idea.
Are you and your team going to have any presence at the public meeting tomorrow night, or is that just too far removed from what you're doing here?
That's pretty far removed. That's really the master plan team tomorrow night for the public meeting. We're just doing our work in support of their plans. So they'll be moving forward and talking to the public tomorrow night at 6 o'clock at the convention center.
Nesta, what will happen to all the artifacts that you're bringing up over here?
These artifacts are going to be cleaned, and then we analyze them to find out time period, possible use. We look at material type, what are we getting? And then they will be prepared for curation at the University of Texas San Antonio Center for Archaeological Research.
And technically, they belong to the people of Texas under state law?
When you recover artifacts on state property, they are state-owned artifacts, so they belong to the people. So they're held in trust at the curational facility.
Any connections to the Mexican roots and any of the soldiers that were here?
The question is, was there any connections to the Mexican roots and the soldiers that were here? We don't have anything directly connected to the soldiers. We do have some Mexican lead glazed ceramics. We certainly know that these soldiers were here, but as of yet, we're not finding a lot of battle-related things. Thank you.
I read that Indians that resided in the Alamo, a lot of them died of diphtheria, and I'm wondering if you all are afraid that there might be a contraction or something that might have been where people were buried.
The question was, this gentleman has read that a lot of the Native Americans here died of diphtheria, and there might be a chance of us being contaminated through soils and old artifacts. That actually, most of those diseases are airborne or have a very short shelf life once they get in the ground. We've checked that out on a lot of our sites. Different types of sites have different contaminants, including arsenic, mercury, things that were once used to treat ailments medicinally that now we know are toxic. And disease is part of that. But those diseases are not transmitted through the soil. Archaeologists are pretty hardy folks, so we've been doing this for a long time, and everybody's stayed healthy. Any other questions? Well, if y'all want to come in and get a shot of these artifacts, I'll leave you for today.
All right, Facebook, let's look at some of these artifacts.
I forgot to ask you, how many in total have you found so far, artifacts?
A little over 300.
Over 300? Wow. And which one is the largest one?
Oh gosh, I don't even know.
You don't know? Okay.
Shaded. Can you point to where the gold is?
Shaded?
It's over by Kate.
What? The Goliath?
Yeah,
This is Goliath. Which
Right.
one is the Goliath? Right here.
This is the
And
Goliath
which one is the
ware.
button?
This is a button, and then this is the bone that the,
The
button
bone?
was cut from. Yeah. It's part of a rosary, so it's like, it's much later.
What do you mean,
Yeah. Goliath ware is bone-tempered ware. It was being manufactured by the Native Americans in prehistoric sites.
I thought that you got it from Goliath.
No, it's called Goliath ware because it's found in mission sites.
These are all polished already and
Later.
cleaned up or
These are
treated?
later.
Is that, I'm sure they're pretty dirty. That's animal bone?
No, this is shell.
And what's the significance of this rock here?
It's just some more.
Oh, I see.
These are the, this is kind of a little bit of a polished, burnished ware. Also has the bone tempering in it. You can see the little white specks. This is called, it's a wheel thrown ware. It's getting a little bit foggy. It has a little inscribed mark right here. These are wheel thrown. These come from Mexico.
Okay.
And probably a lot of this was manufactured in Mexico other than the
And that's the
wheel-
pottery.
And you found all
Yeah.
this right here?
Yeah. Most of this probably would have been.
I just want to get in when you're done.
Where was the Goliad ware made?
The Goliad ware was made locally by the Native Americans.
How far down did you guys find?
Nesta.
About a foot and a half, 2 feet below the
Right.
ground surface.
Can I go
Pretty
in?
shallow.
Flint plate.
That was 2.5.
Showing some of the probably continued use of using stone tool
So you guys
manufacturing.
don't know if it was before or after the battle or is it the Alamo? Was it before or after the Alamo or during the Alamo period?
We're still figuring that out.
What's the cool looking green thing that's round?
Bottom glass.
Okay.
On the end stuff. This is maybe part of a like a utility knife or maybe a part of scissors. But it's
Wow.
really corroded, so it's really hard to see.
Yeah, you can see it.
Yeah, but you can see the straight top and then the curvature of it.
What's that good?
These are square nails. So those are 19th century for sure. During the colonial period, you used what are called wrought nails. And they were handmade. During the around 1790, 1800 here, we start to see the transition between a square shank and a wrought head. And then by the 1820s, 30s, you're in the square nails.
What period would the bottle glass be from?
19th century. That's 19th.
And is the clear glass the apothecary?
That has a ponto mark in it, and Carissa can tell you more about that. And this is the one that says San Antonio on it.
Which one? This one?
No, this one.
Which is that the apothecary glass?
Yeah.